Straight ahead on 12 News, on to state for the Park Center basketball team, a group that's good on and off the court. Then an explosion of Easter bunnies.
We'll have like 1,000 bunnies probably.
The sweet business that's holiday driven. But first, making the case for a bigger Interstate 94 to handle Northwest Metro commuters. 12 News starts right now. Many people who travel along Interstate 94 between Maple Grove and Monticello will tell you one word to describe their drive: congested.
But efforts are underway at both the state and federal level to not only clear up that congestion, but create jobs for the area as well. Dwayne Cleveland explains.
On a winter's day like today, travel along I-94 near Maple Grove isn't exactly the fastest drive in the world.
Just stop and go, and it's no fun at all.
Just ask Maple Grove resident Tim Urkula.
This congestion around the Weaver Lake Road area is really tough in the morning. It's just awful.
Or University of Minnesota Morris student Sarah Gergen.
And it's just basically a dead stop from Maple Grove pretty much to at least Elk River, if not further.
The congestion is due in large part to the population growth in the area and the fact that I-94 is a well-traveled artery for trucks hauling goods in and out of the Twin Cities.
If you can do something to move them through here quicker and get us on the road, it'd be better for all of us.
He may soon get his wish.
We're getting some interest, we're getting traction, and this is where it begins.
Today at the state capitol, Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann tried to rally support for a plan to add one lane on I-94 in both directions between Maple Grove and Monticello.
And we have our representatives who have already introduced legislation to that end, and I've spoken with our Transportation Committee chair. That is one of the vital arteries.
Also on hand.
So the I-94 corridor is an absolute imperative artery for us.
We're business owners who move cargo through I-94.
If Interstate 94 is healthy, our artery is healthy, that's going to help Minnesota businesses be healthy.
The total price of this I-94 expansion project would cost about $100 million. According to Maple Grove residents we spoke with, it would be money well spent.
Considering what they spend money on nowadays, I think so.
Oh, that's for sure. I've been waiting for years.
There's still no timeline on when this project would happen, but the plan does have bipartisan support on both the state and federal level. Mike and Alex, one group that doesn't have the project high on its priority list is the Minnesota Department of Transportation. However, Congresswoman Bachmann says she's not worried about that.
All right, we'll see what happens. Thanks, Delane. There has been another reprieve for Liberians living in Minnesota under a special temporary immigration status. The Obama administration has extended their status for another 18 months. It was due to run out at the end of this month, and that could have triggered deportations. Congressman Keith Ellison says it's a first step. He's calling for a path to citizenship for Liberians who are here and living by the rules. Ellison says as many as 25,000 Liberians live in Minnesota, many in the Northwest Metro. Well, the Park Center boys basketball team is headed to the state tournament for the first time since 1997.
But the Pirates are not only scoring points on the parquet, Sonia Goins shows us how the team is also making some monumental moves off the court.
Joy, excitement.
You might call these guys the Fab Five.
It's worked out.
Minus Joshua Matthews, who was not at school today. Not only do they hoop it up on the court, but they also hit the books as well.
It's really cool.
4 out of the 5 starters are honor roll students.
We fought through the battles.
Quentin Hooker is pretty good when it comes to the pick and roll. He's also good at picking up the books. He's got 2 favorite subjects.
It's English and social studies together, and there's a lot of group projects, and you get to think outside the box.
He also tutors students at Brooklyn Junior High.
If they need help with math, English, science, whatever they need, try to give them some assistance.
Devin Buckley likes to crunch numbers.
I actually want to be an accountant and work at like a firm.
Yeah. Math is also Isaiah McKay's favorite subject. He says it's sometimes tough balancing schoolwork and basketball.
It gets overwhelming at sometimes, but you know, you just got to overcome it.
Trayton Daniel's specialty is science.
I want to become an engineer, probably mechanical engineering. It's always hard balancing the two, but you just got to find time here and there. Make sure your schedule is tight, so you don't got too many things going on at once.
Besides hitting the books and working on their basketball game, members of the basketball team are also helping out in the community.
It's just something different.
They've helped with Toys for Tots and Feed My Starving Children.
It's a time they can give back to the community and let people know that we're just more than just young basketball players. We are basketball players that want to be part of the community, and we want to help.
In Brooklyn Park, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
And coming up in sports, John Jacobson will have all the highlights from the Park Center-Osseo game in just a few minutes.
Well, another Park Center student is already bringing home some hardware. Over the weekend, 17-year-old Megan Muehlberg won the title of Miss Teen Minnesota International at a pageant in St. Cloud. We first featured Megan as a standout student when she was still in junior high. She had to overcome challenges with a condition called auditory processing disorder. Basically, sounds get jumbled up when she hears them, making her sometimes mix up words. And since then, she has become a national spokesperson for APD. Megan will compete in the National Teen Pageant in Chicago this summer. Well, when you think of the busiest times of year for florists, Valentine's Day probably comes to mind.
And that's for sure. For those in the business of making chocolate, Easter is prime time. In today's Business Matters, we are headed to a Plymouth chocolatier who has Easter bunnies on the brain.
We have a lot of different bunnies, and so far the bulk of what we've made is milk, and today we're going to be concentrating on dark chocolate.
Pat Godfrey has boxes of freshly made Easter chocolates.
This is what is called a place-setting bunny.
Yet it's just a fraction of what her family-run chocolatier business, Painted Turtle, will produce between now and Easter.
Every time there's a holiday, you pretty much work nonstop for about 3 weeks.
In the kitchen, a steady stream of Belgium chocolate flows from tempering units. The process starts with 10-pound blocks of chocolate or pellets that must be melted down.
This is one of our Easter bunnies. This is an acrylic mold.
Doug Godfrey, Pat's husband, is an internal medicine physician by day, but on weekends, he's chief bunny maker.
Make sure you get chocolate down into the ears, because the ears are the most susceptible part of the bunny, and they can snap off. We like to leave that to the kids, snap off the ears.
He'll produce 1,000 bunnies by the time Easter arrives.
And there we have our bunny.
And then there's the truffles, another popular seller for holidays.
At Valentine's, we had 35 flavors of truffles, and they were all fresh, made within 1 week.
Today, they'll produce about 500 truffles in anticipation of Easter. 5 years after this artisan chocolatier shop opened, it's holidays that play a key role in fueling sales.
Comes to $18.18.
For owner Pat Godfrey, a registered dietitian and food scientist, becoming a chocolatier means creating a business people can't help but love.
As soon as they walk in, they smile. And chocolate makes people happy.
In addition to Easter and Valentine's, Christmas and Thanksgiving are also big seasons in the chocolatier business. There's actually a component in chocolate, she said, that scientifically makes people happy. She has that food science background. So
I believe that, but yeah. I wonder what happened to the samples. They didn't make it back to the station somehow.
They did not make it back to the station. Coming up, we will hear from the man who will be the next school superintendent in Brooklyn Center.
And then later in sports, local teams in girls basketball and adapted floor hockey grab their third consecutive state championships.
But first, it's a look at your AccuWeather forecast.
Well, Brooklyn Center schools will have a new superintendent beginning this summer.
Earlier this month, the school board unanimously chose Mark Bonine to replace Keith Lester, who's retiring. Bonine is currently an associate superintendent in the Minneapolis School District, and he joins us now. Congratulations on this new post, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be here this afternoon.
Now, you oversee several so-called turnaround school district or schools rather within the Minneapolis public school system. How does that prepare you for this new post at Brooklyn Center?
I think it prepares me perfectly. As I was looking at superintendencies, I thought Brooklyn Center was a perfect match for my skill set.
How so?
So as I've been working with turnaround schools the last 6 years, I know exactly the criteria you need to turn around a school. So first, you have to have a great principal. You have to have high quality teachers. The principal and the teachers need to have a belief system that every child can learn no matter how they come into school and what barriers they have. And you need additional time for those students if they're behind grade level and need more support.
Well, as you may know, Brooklyn Center has had some trouble raising money. They had several bond issues defeated before passing one, I think, a couple of years ago. Do you see that as an ongoing challenge?
It is an ongoing challenge, and it's one of my top priorities. I know being in statutory operating debt has weighed heavy on the school staff. And so I will be talking to the citizens about Our children in the schools are our greatest asset, and so I'll be asking for their help. So we'll have the dollars to really make sure that every student is college and career ready.
And Brooklyn Center does a number of things to accommodate its student population. They have child care, they have that on-site medical clinic. What do you think of that, and how do you see pushing that forward? Do you see pushing that forward?
Absolutely, I think it's great. I think we always treat the whole child. Brooklyn Center, Keith Lester, the outgoing superintendent, has done a great job building Brooklyn Center. It is the beacon for the community. We are treating the whole child at all times. And so we want to make sure that we take away all the barriers a child or a family may have so they can learn at optimal level.
Well, the bottom line, of course, is going to be academics. And in the last 30 seconds that we have, can you summarize how to raise the academic level there?
Yes, so I think first of all, 85% of any school's budget is people. So you have to make sure you're training people. So we'll be doing a lot of work around professional development. The state is requiring a principal evaluation implemented 13-14 and a teacher evaluation 14-15. So we want to make sure that we do that. We also want to make sure that it's not unlike the Vikings. You coach people up. you take the grade levels and the content areas and you coach people up and help them get better.
All right, Mark Bonine, who will be taking over as superintendent in the Brooklyn Center School District starting July 1st, right?
Fantastic, yes.
Very good. Thanks for being here, Mark. Appreciate it. Well, coming up, how kids are getting a government lesson outside the classroom.
But first, in sports, Park Center's boys basketball team survives a tough section final. Now the Pirates are getting ready for state. John Jacobson has that and much more when we come back.
Well, we already told you that Park Center will be in the state tournament now and in the championship. And I'm telling you, that was some game, though, over the weekend.
Lived up to the hype,
That was a great game, yeah. The first two times these two teams played, it was okay games, but this one was really a thriller. Osseo's boys basketball team won the state Class 4A title last season. This winter, their District 279 rival Park Center edged the Orioles by one game to take the Northwest Suburban Conference title. After splitting two regular season meetings, the Orioles and Pirates met for the Section 5 4A title. Quentin Hooker steps up, buries a three for Park Center on its way to a 27-point night. The Pirates hold a slim lead early. Osseo closes the half strong. Bridge Tussler drives and scores two of his 21. Osseo hits the right notes in the first half. They take a 29-25 lead into the break. The second half is a thriller. Isaiah McKay hits the tough floater early in the second half for Park Center. Wheeler Baker steals the pass, and he's off to the races for a big jam to give Osseo a 5-point lead at 47-42. Park Center responds. McKay nails a big three to put the Pirates back in front, 52-49. He scores 10 points in the night. And you know tonight when this goes in, Devin Buckley's rainbow falls for the Pirates. Park Center celebrates its first section title in 16 years with a 73-71 win. Park Center meets Lakeville North in the Class 4A quarterfinals at 2 p.m. Wednesday at the Target Center. We'll have more on the Pirates Tuesday starting at 4 on 12 News. After wins over St. Michael Albertville and Osseo, the Hopkins girls basketball team earned a spot for the third straight season in the Class 4A state championship game. Hopkins matching up with Bloomington Kennedy. In a battle on the inside, Aaron O'Toole rebounds the missed free throw. Has her shot blocked. Yeah, Coffey's blocked too, but it ends up with O'Toole again with a layup, and the Royals are up 12-7. Kennedy plays a strong first half. Jasmine Martin with a long three as the Eagles surge into the lead. They go up by as many as 5 points. Coffey buries a three-pointer late in the half to give Hopkins a narrow 28-26 lead at the break. But as in the semifinals, the Royals take control to start the second half. Taylor Anderson to the steal. She races up court and spots McCalla Shackelford for the layup. Here's a favorite inbounds play. Anderson to O'Toole. And back to Anderson for a three-pointer. And it's 36-26 Hopkins. Coffey makes an acrobatic steal and turns up court. Her layup here is part of a 23-1 run spanning the end of the first half and the start of the second half. The Royals win big, 68-45 for their third straight state title. The Osseo girls had a day off to regroup following their state semifinal loss to prepare them to play in the Class 4A third place game. Osseo meeting Eastview for third place. An early Orioles bucket here. Belinda Barfneck to Phyllis Webb for 2 inside. The Lightning gets something to cheer about. They swing the ball from the corner. And it's a 3 for Carrie Opatz, and Eastview leads this third-place game 9-6. Janae Morton threads the needle on the inbounds pass to Io Port for the hoop. Port scores 10 for the Orioles. Osseo leads 20-17 at halftime. Second half now, and Madison Hubert pops out behind the screen for a 3, and Eastview grabs the lead. Then it's Tyra Johnson to Opatz for an open 3. The Lightning pull away for a 58-43 win over Osseo. The Orioles finish with a 22-10 record. Like Hopkins in girls basketball, the Robbinsdale-Hopkins Mound Westonka Robins came into the state adapted floor hockey tournament as the big favorite to make it a three-peat in the PI division. The Robins met Dakota United for the championship. First period, a loose puck in front, knocked in by the Robins. Tyler Sarf gets credit for the goal, and it's 1-0. Second period, nice setup by Dakota, but Charlie Whitmer makes the save in goal. Joe Dubasar scoring there. That makes it 3-0 Robins. In the third period, Whitmer with a nice glove save on the shot. Whitmer is a big game in net for the Robins. And then later on the power play, Sarf gets his third goal of the game to make it 5-0. Whitmer makes 29 saves in the game, and the Robins win the state title again, 5-0. So 3 in a row for them as well. Congratulations.
A dynasty there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, John. We'll be right back.
And finally, they could be the next generation of Brooklyn Park city leaders.
You never know. More than a dozen Brooklyn Park teenagers got an up-close and personal look at city government by touring the fire and police departments as well as City Hall. The students will also be paired up with city leaders for the council meeting tonight. The experience is part of an ongoing effort to engage the city's youth.
A lot of adults don't know what city government is. And this is just another way to get the youth involved in the city, and if they understand how the city works, then maybe they will become more involved.
City officials hope this first Students in City Government Day becomes a yearly tradition.
And in a couple of years, they might be running for office.
You never know.
and they could do a good job.
That's right. They're getting an early start
That's
there.
right.
That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Stay with us. Community Corner coming up next, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow, beginning at 4.